Learning objective 3 is the production environment and how that affects costing systems. And as mentioned, there are two extremes. One is very individual, almost custom manufactured. And for this, we're using job order costing. Think of a cobbler. You go into a cobbler and he fits your foot perfectly for a leather shoe. And that's made just to fit exactly your lumps and bumps in your foot, right? That's a job order. If, however, you went to a shoe store and bought a pre-made leather shoe, well, that was made in a very automated process, and it's a whole different manufacturing process. As you might imagine, those differences have some bearing on the type of system we use to account for the inventory cost. First, we'll look at some general ideas about how manufacturing occurs. The production order triggers the beginning, and it says, okay, here we go. We need to make this many products, and often it has a bill of materials which says if we're making shoes, we need leather for the uppers, we need rubber for the sole, etc. And it might even list the work that's necessary in the sequence, kind of an operational list of steps needed to go from raw material to a completed shoe. This is typically prepared by schedulers who need to balance out the amount manufactured and its efficiencies with the amount demanded and projected to be demanded by their customers. The job order sheet is used in these more customized situations where you have a sheet. You can think of it as a piece of paper. Of course, we're all automated these days. We have very few pieces of paper, but it has tracking of the easy to measure items that go right to that product, like direct labor and direct material, and then the overhead application. Instead of making shoes, let's build a house, right? So we're manufacturing a house. The direct materials will include the wood and the cement and the tile, things like that would be the materials list. The labor would be the trades. You have carpenters, you have plumbers, you have electricians. And then finally, the overhead is all the machinery necessary to bring the material or to be used on site to make the house. So you can imagine that a custom house would have very expensive amounts of material compared to a kind of generically built house. The custom nature leads particularly to the implementation of a job order accounting system. So when we look at the raw materials, think of it as a room that has raw material used by multiple products. And so we'll keep material in that room and take good inventory of what's in there. Again, in the manufactured housing situation, they may have an account for their tiles or their faucets or their rows of carpet, right? Those are examples of raw material. The requisition form is a form that triggers the movement. So if you're the manager of the raw material office, someone would come to you with a form signed off properly, and then you give the material to that person. But that form triggers that you're going to move, the accounting department will move costs out of your supplies, your raw material, into the production, into a job or a manufacturing process. The work tick is how we track the time. This is used for allocating the charges for, say, a carpenter from one job to the other.